She's just such an inspirational character. I mean, I can't tell you how exciting and what a privilege it is to be able to represent her.
Mary Seacole, Crimea, 1855. British soldiers are fighting the Russians.
This is word you keep using. Russians. They're not fighting Russians. They're fighting Sontarans.
Hello, my name is Sarah Powell and I am playing Mary Seacole in the 13th series of Doctor Who.
It's lovely being able to have a real-life historical character in the episode, actually. It's been great fun researching Mary Seacole and finding out about her, and I think she's definitely a historical figure that it's great to have more of a spotlight on.
Mary Seacole was a Jamaican nurse who took herself off entirely under her own steam to the Crimea in 1854 to nurse soldiers.
I know where we are. Crimean War, 1855. Ottoman Empire weakening. British soldiers fighting Russians.
What? We're in the middle of the Crimean War.
That would make you Mary Seacole. Are you? You are, aren't you?
Mrs. Seacole to you. Doctress to the fallen.
At the end of episode 1, as far as the team are concerned, it's the end of the universe and the TARDIS is taking a very big hit from the Flux. The end of the universe! I always wondered what it would feel like. So when you meet the Doctor at the beginning of episode 2, the way it's shot is as if we can't quite see where we are. It's very smoky, it's very otherworldly. And the Doctor quickly realises that she is still alive and where she is feels very Earth-like. And we're in the Crimea in 1855. So who we meet on the battlefield is Mary Seacole, played by the brilliant Sarah Powell.
Mary Seacole finds them, and she's none too pleased to find them because from Mary's experience, they're ne'er-do-wells who go around the battlefields picking whatever they can find. They're basically out robbing.
Show me your hands. What did you take? Show me!
We didn't take anything.
I know what goes on out here. Vultures, emptying the pockets of the dead.
The Doctor has to figure out why they're in Crimea, what's happening, and we meet some fantastic bad guys.
Taste the victory, my soldiers!
For the Doctor, this obviously explodes into a million questions, but we have to very quickly hide as we see a group of Sontarans pass by.
We see the interesting sort of like slightly weird counterfactual Crimean War that the Doctor lands in, where the British aren't fighting the Russians, they're fighting the Sontarans. And so, yeah, it's a genuine war, but so like in a weird sort of like a sort of in a weird way that the Sontarans have invaded the Earth, and also all of Earth's history. So yeah, they're sort of like they're beefing up their claims to be sort of like time warriors for themselves.
The thing that is the most disarming for the Doctor is the discovery that the Sontarans are aware of the Flux and know things about it that the Doctor doesn't. She discovers that they aren't in control of it and haven't caused it, but they're using it to their advantage, and she is absolutely 10 steps behind, and that, for the Doctor, is frustrating, scary, you know, all those things, but because of, I suppose, the history of the Doctor and the Sontarans, she absolutely doesn't give those cards away during that scene.
It is regrettable that our Flux strategy did not foresee your presence, but we shall not falter.
You knew the Flux was coming? So what caused it? Is it you lot? Are the Sontarans behind the Flux?
The Flux is neither of our making or our control, but our psychic command foresaw it. We timed our attack on this feeble rock in the fractions before the Lipari shield took effect.
While we were all looking the other way, you must be very proud.
Well, the Crimean War, you've got sort of it's three great empires butting against each other. You know, it's the great game in the middle of the 19th century. You know, it's like between the British and Russian spheres of influence. I think being students of war, the Sontarans would obviously find this like clash of two great empires very exciting, and also a chink in which to muscle into Earth's history. They find it an exciting place to be in. That you know, you've got rifles, you've got sort of cannonballs, you know, old-fashioned sort of like hand-to-hand fighting. So that's something which they probably relish as well. And of course, the chief Sontaran gets to ride a horse, which Sontarans don't often get a chance to do. So I can understand completely why they'd relish the opportunity.
When we created the Mary Seacole costume, we did a lot of research into the period. Obviously, there's a Mary Seacole statue outside Parliament, but when you try and research Mary, what I tended to find was caricatures of what people thought Mary was. So I had to go back and research the period. She was of the period. She did wear the crinoline and the petticoats and the corset. But what I wanted to do, and what Sarah, our actor, was really pleased that I did, was I wanted to reference some kind of Caribbean colours into her costume. They're not the colours of any flag, but we knew where we would see Mary. We would see her in the Crimean War, and I wanted her to be a shining beacon in that landscape.
It's not bad, is it, my costume? It's pretty good. Underneath, so I have these fantastic shoes and great big woolly socks. The leggings are not period because the leggings are thermal, just to keep me warm. So then there's this wonderful whalebone crinoline thing to keep everything puffed out. Then there's this enormous, and you can see how filthy it got. I mean, this has been cleaned so many times. And then there's this wonderful petticoat going on. And then there's this basically curtains. And then this, again, I think basic upholstery fabric, isn't it? I mean, she was kind of self-styled military as well, Mary. She at the end of her life, she was photographed and had her portrait painted with some medals that no one's quite sure how she got.
A lot of sketches of Mary are real caricatures because she was considered eccentric. And I wanted to put a tiny bit of that in the costume, but also to be very respectful of her achievements.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel.